Here's a test jig I built. I call it ClickerMedic. Our campus, UC Davis, some of our faculty use clickers, the InterWrite PRS RF system in their classrooms. A problem happened last year involving MAX 10.5.5 and ultimately 10.5.6. I'm making this video to help inform our faculty of progress towards solving this problem. In September, mid-September, Apple released 10.5.5. Apparently there was a kernel code change which involved the I/O architecture of the USB port. This made the Rev A and Rev D E instruction, the USB receivers not work or not reliably work. And approximately 5 weeks later, October 21st, the company issued a special 10.5.5 receiver, Rev D, to take care of the problem. We really didn't see this problem on our campus until winter quarter. And then we started to see it, and we got a batch of the Rev D receivers, and I became suspicious that they are, due to feedback from faculty and other feedback, that they didn't reliably work, and I started to test them. And I did test them with a 6-click loop. So I wound up clicking thousands and thousands of times to assemble data to both prove to myself and possibly prove to the company that there really was still a problem. I never was able to run it or 10.5.5, but I was assured by the company that the Rev D fix was also for 10.5.6 and not just 10.5.5, at least verbally on the phone. So I built this test jig to take care of this 6-click loop because I know that I'm going to have to do QA on the next rev of the receivers. This is a very simple test jig. A MacBook Pro can be slid into it and underneath these 4 solenoids, and all those solenoids are doing is activating in a preset sequence. Double click to open the application. If we get to a light screen, which is detected with a photo cell here, then we click through and we then wait for an RF channel to be selected, and then we Command Q and we return, and we can start over again. I keep a running loop. I hope you can see this. I'm up to 325. We're on loop 325 now. If the receivers hang at all, then that loop, we get a failure message on there, and the testing stops. I'm going to put a disclaimer in here now. I built this test jig entirely on my own time and with my own money, and my opinions expressed in this video are my personal opinions and do not represent those of my employer, UCD. This test jig was just fantastically fun to build. This part, the controller, was very easy to build. There's a Parallax stamp, Basic Stamp 2, programmable in PBasic. It's driving that black chip to the back of it, which is a Darlington driver handling the current that can drive the 4 relays. Those 4 relays control DC power from a separate 12-volt brick going to the solenoids. The solenoids really take a hit of current, so I didn't want to drag down the power to the control circuitry and all, and this effectively works. The test results are really quite straightforward. This is a dual partition MacBook Pro 10.5.4, 10.5.6, so I can reboot and test the receivers under either operating system, and the hardware is completely identical, so there's no change in hardware at all. I've tested the Rev D receiver as more than 5,000 loops, successful loops on 10.5.4, and on 10.5.6 I have never seen success go beyond loop 22 22. I've had 22 successful loops, but I've never seen it go beyond 23. So it appears to be the case that testing approximately 100 times is probably enough to make a distinction. Although when I get the new firmware, which I actually received yesterday, April 1st, I hope it's not a joke. I will I'll probably want to run hundreds and hundreds of tests to make sure that it really is robust under 10.5.6.
Okay, here's the most common kind of hang I've seen with this RevD receiver. The software can't complete finding. It's doing the port scan and it can't find the receiver, so it's hung. This requires a force quit at this point. This is under 10.5.6, and we actually made it through 5 loops and it failed on the 6th loop.
This RevD receiver has actually failed during the 13th loop. That's pretty good, really. This is the more rare failure mode where we've actually got to the RF class screen and now it's hung. And if I manually try the return key, it doesn't make any difference. The only thing that'll work at this point is a force quit. I can see this problem both ways. On the one hand, once I was suspicious of there being a problem, it was very, very easy to find. It just was incredibly easy to find with manual testing. And that raises the obvious question of why didn't the company find it? Was it Friday afternoon and people were going home? I don't know why they didn't, but they didn't. And here it is 6.5 months later since Apple released 10.5.5, and the company does not yet have a reliable solution for Mac users, 10.5.5, 10.5.6. That's not good. On the other hand, during winter quarter, we had 3 professors actually use, one of them used a Rev A receiver with 10.5.6 Mac, and 2 of them used a Rev D receiver with a 10.5.6 Mac. One of them, all 3, I would put it, muscled through winter quarter and were able to run Clicker classes. One of them, 2 of them apparently did not see the problem in the classroom. When I went to their office, it was very clear. It was very easy to see the problem. The other one professor, he clearly muscled through the problem. He had to force quit and bring it back up until the receiver would be recognized at the beginning of his class. But there's the evidence that, well, yes, 3 professors did, quote quote, successfully use use this audience response system on a 10.5.6 Mac. We are actually, I'm advising people to not use it for spring quarter because I just think you shouldn't use a system that's not robust. Okay, let's stop this clicker testing program and do something much different. I'm going to unplug the solenoids, I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to download a new program. I'm going to put the solenoids back, the power back into the solenoids, and now we'll turn this on, and all I can say is, and keep this word in mind, that's live.